Fitz. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty deep topic, all right? And this is going to make some people mad. But I'm going to pose a couple questions, and I'm going to start out with the question of, are white mothers better at raising black children than black mothers? I'm going to start off with that question. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on replay. I'm going to put up a poll. For y'all. All right. Are white mothers better at raising black kids than white moms? All right. We're going to run a poll. Because I've released several videos over the last couple of weeks. All right. I've released several videos over the last couple of weeks, and I've gotten crazy responses. So one of the videos that I reacted to, and you can go watch it on my channel, is of a black woman who has a white mom saying that she'd never consented to having a white mom. I'm going to say that again. You have a black child, breathing air, living, all the opportunity in the world, and she's online bashing her white mom, not because her mom abused her, not because her mom said terrible things about her, but because she's a black woman and never consented to having a black or a white mom. Now, I'm also going to get into how I think that a lot of black children who have white moms or white dads, they're just ungrateful. They are just ungrateful because a lot of what I'm seeing online from these black children with white parents, they're saying they missed out on things like culture. I missed out on culture. I don't know what it means to be black. I missed out on that. You ain't missing out on nothing over here, baby. You ain't missing out on nothing over here. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to keep it real, right? What it means to be black in 2025 is not what it used to mean to be black. What it means to be black in 2025, and this is coming from black culture, right? What it means to be black in 2025 is you have a criminal record. You willing to crash out over small things and risk everything you built. You not in your children's life. Either because you a deadbeat dad, deadbeat mom, in and out of jail, got a drug issue. Now, why do I say this? And this is not all black people, by the way. I want to make a distinction between black culture and black people. Okay? Most black people, we just regular black people wanting to go live our lives. But black culture is something that promotes all the things I just said. Black culture promotes being deadbeat fathers. How do I know this? Because black culture promotes sleeping with multiple women, committing crimes. So then if you're committing crimes and you get caught, how are you going to be there for those children? Black culture promotes not respecting women. Black culture promotes men versus women. Black men ain't this, white women, or black women ain't this, black women ain't that. Black culture promotes all of the things that teach black people that we are not valuable, we should not care about our community, and we should uplift the criminals in our community to the highest standards and put those of us who have worked hard the legal way, we should put those down. We should put that's what black culture teaches in 2025. Those of us that work the hardest are on the straight and narrow. We don't have a criminal record, or if we do, we're not about that life anymore. That's another thing. It's like, look at the reaction of black people when you used to be in the streets, when you used to be doing things that you had no business doing, that had no benefit to your life. Look at how black culture teaches black people who try to live a better life. Look at how black culture treats black people who try to live a better life? What's the first thing black culture tells black people who try to move ahead from maybe a past of criminality, a past of doing negative things? What's the first thing black culture teaches you? Let's go back to school. We in class now. What's the first thing black culture teaches you when you live a troubled past and you try to do better? Black culture teaches you that you a sellout, that you fake now. Oh, you not one of us now. What they say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And why do they say that? They're not saying it because you murdered somebody, right? The murderers in our community, those are kinfolk. The murderers, the people that degrade the community, disrespect the community, those are kinfolk. Now, the people who are not kinfolk, these are the people that will say, if someone commits a crime in my neighborhood, I'm calling the cops. Oh, you're not kinfolk. You're not kinfolk. These are the people that will say, you know what? I actually care about how I behave, and I don't mind wearing a suit and tie when I go to work to present myself so that I can climb the corporate ladder or climb to the highest position possible in my company. Those are considered sellouts, right? And so when I hear black children who have white parents saying that they missed out on black culture, I clap. I clap, because if you are a black child and you missed out on black culture, you dodged a bullet. You Neo in the Matrix, you dodged a bullet. You dodged the bullet. There is nothing right now in modern black culture. There is nothing in modern black culture that gives black people the competitive advantage in the marketplace, in school, nowhere. Can someone let me know in the comments if you disagree? What in modern black culture do black people get taught from black culture that gives us a competitive edge in the marketplace, in school, as parents? What competitive edge does black culture give black people in 2025? What competitive edge? Let me know, because when I say things like modern black culture is toxic, and I say that modern black culture is something that we should, that pretty much needs reform, a lot of black people get mad at me. They get mad at me. So I want to know. I'm here live. I want to know in the comment section, what in black culture in 2025 gives black people the competitive advantage? Any competitive advantage? Let me know. Because when I get online and I see black children with white parents and their only complaint is, well, I don't feel like I'm black enough. Okay. Where did you go to school at? Did you get a college education? Most of them did. Did you grow up in a safe neighborhood? Most of them did. Do you have a criminal record? I don't really hear that. That's not the conversations I'm hearing. So you literally have ungrateful black children getting online, bashing their white parents because you don't know what a dashiki is. You have black children getting online, bashing their white parents because you didn't grow up in the hood. You have black children bashing their white parents because maybe their parents were Republican or conservative and they believe that black people do not have disadvantages in society and can go out and do whatever they want, and they raised you with that value to not be a victim. Let me know. Let me know, am I missing something? Let me know. Let me know. Now, here's where I stand, right? I'll give my personal take, because I know a lot of people will, what up? We got someone in the chat. Appreciate you. We got one vote. They said, are white mothers better at raising black kids than black moms? All right. Let me know why in the comment section. One person said yes. Let me know why in the comment section. Why are white moms better at raising black kids than black moms? I'll get into it. I'll give my perspective, all right? I think that it's a unique experience coming from both. Now, one thing that we have to remember is that most black children that are being raised by black moms are likely being raised in a single parent household. So we can't take that off the table. So I don't, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the statistics are when it comes to black or white moms raising black children. I don't know how many of those don't have the father in the household. But what I will say is that there is a large push from white women saying pretty much like we're taking y'all's man, black woman. We are gonna come in and we're gonna take your man. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be submissive. We're gonna do this and that. And you see a lot of black men gravitating towards that. So I'd be interested in the data's probably out there. Do black men stick around with white women more than they stick around with black women when they have a child with them? I don't know that, and I'm sure the evidence is out there, but I would be interested to dive deeper into that because I think that's going to be the crux that determines how good of a parent you can be. Now, if we're talking about culture, we're talking about this and that, there's going to be different experiences. But I believe that a woman who secures a man to be in a strong masculine man to be in the household, they are doing what's best for their child or their children, right? So my understanding is this: your number one role as a woman, if you have children, is to secure a strong man. The data points are out there. When you have a man in the household, the children do much better when it comes to school. They are less likely to become teen moms. They are less likely to commit crimes. So my determining factor is this: do white women tend to secure men to stay in the household better than black women do? To me, that's going to be the determining factor of who's raising better black kids. Because I ultimately believe that you cannot properly raise a kid without a father in the household. I truly believe that. That's not to say that single moms, they can't do it, or that, every situation is going to be the same. I just think that there's more hurdles, there's more challenges, and the data shows that there's worse outcomes when a father is not in the home. So if you ask me who's better at raising children, black kids, white women or black women, I'm going to say whoever is better at securing a strong man to be in that household. That's going to be my answer. Now, I don't know the answer to that at this moment. I don't know if white women are coming in as stepmoms to black kids. I don't know if white women are coming in and they getting with the man and having a black child. All I know is that who's ever able to secure that man to be in that household, they're going to have better sons and they're going to have better daughters statistically. Statistically speaking, right? That's me being as fair as possible. That's me being as fair as possible. Whoever can secure the man, they're probably going to have better outcomes for their children. Now, let's take the man out of the situation. That was my fair argument. Let's take the man out of the situation and let's look at just on its face. Who would be better at raising black children? A black mom or a white mom? Well, when it comes to income, I don't know those statistics as well. They could be the same, they could be whatever. So I'm going to leave income off the table right now, and I'm just going to speak to culture, right? I'm going to speak to culture. What is it that white women learn growing up versus what is it that black women learn growing up? All right. I honestly don't know what white women learn growing up. I don't know what y'all learn when it comes to raising kids. I don't know what y'all learn when it comes to morals and values. I just don't know. What I can speak to is a lot of what black women are exposed to. A lot of what black women are exposed to is that being a single mother is pretty much a badge of honor. You come first. As the mother, you come first. Your needs come first. Whatever you want, you got to go out and find this unicorn man, but you can have a child with this man or with some man, and they don't have to be a unicorn man to have a child, but in order to be in a relationship, they got to be the unicorn man. That's what I understand black women to be exposed to, and it's not just their fault. It's the women in their lives. It's also the men. We cannot forget the fact that a lot of these black mothers, they're not growing up with a father. They don't know what good, positive, strong masculinity looks like. So I think we really have to have a nuanced conversation about it. We truly have to have a nuanced conversation about it. But just looking from the outside in, what I'll say is this. Um, a lot of times when I talk to black people who are raised by white moms, it almost seems like the white mom tries to go overboard in letting that black child know they are black, and letting them know, like I don't know. I don't want to say letting them know they're black, but almost leaning into it more. Like, I feel like white moms try to overcompensate for the fact that they have a black child, and so they may be overprotective. They may lean into it. They may, like, other white people treat black people like this, but not me. Like, I truly feel like that, and that's what I've heard from people. Me myself, I have white family. I have a white grandma, right? I have a white grandma, and my mom is mixed black and white. And so, it's interesting because when I'm with her, that's just my grandma. That's just my grandma. But in society, she's a white woman. And when people see her with me, she understands, like, they may look at me a little differently. There's been times where, we've been out and she gets comments about, are those your grandkids? Blah, blah, blah. So I think white moms are more aware of the fact that they have a black child than people give them credit for. Now, we have to look at the situation like try to be as objective as possible. When white women have children with black men, a lot of people will make the argument that they're just trying to have trophy children. They're trying to have mixed children. They're trying to jump on the trend. That's what I saw on the video I reacted to. This black child, mixed, whatever you want to call it, she was pretty much making the argument that her mom only had her because she wanted a trophy mixed child. I don't know if that's true. Let me know in the comment section. Have you heard that? Have you heard that white women just want to have black children to have trophy children because it's a trend and it's virtue signaling and it makes you seem not racist? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section because, I could just not be in the know. I could just not be in the know. Let me know in the comments. Are black or white women just having children with black men as trophy children? I don't know. I do not know. But here's the interesting thing when we have this conversation about black moms versus white moms and raising the kids and this and that. You also have to understand that things are shifting right now when it comes to how men are viewing women and and how women are viewing men. And what you have to realize is that a lot of white women are willing to make the sacrifices that black women say that they're too good for. I'm just going to be real. This is what I'm seeing online. This is what I'm hearing from people. When I talk to other black men, they sending me videos. They're like, yo, look at this crazy white women really doing this. Like, it's a total night and day difference experience. Now, you could say that that's because white women were, like, a lot of people say, well, those are the white women that white men didn't want. That's another argument that I'm hearing, is that white women who get with black men, they're getting with black men because prominent black white men don't want them. So that feeds into the narrative again. If you believe that your mother only had you because she couldn't get with a white man, that may create a sense of insecurity within yourself that you kind of blame her or that you're not enough, right? These are the narratives that are going around right now. And honestly, I have to say this. If you are a black child who is bitching and complaining solely because you have a white parent, after they done raised you, you 20 years old, you 19, 20 years old, they done raised you, put you through college or whatever, done sent you to some great schools growing up, you grew up in a safe area, and you get online and you complain that you have a white parent, you are a piece of shit. I'm just gonna say that. You're a piece of shit. Why? Because you're essentially trying to cosplay being black at this point. It's not even that you're not black, it's that you don't feel black and you want to be black. And so now you're trying to put down the people that actually love you and care about you and have been there for you. You're trying to cosplay being black. See, I look at black kids who grew up with white parents and then they try to shit on their white parents. I look at them as white kids who grew up in a white neighborhood and try to quote unquote act black. To me, that's the same thing. To me, that's the same thing because, you know, on one hand, you're technically black. But on the other hand, you want to be black more than you are black. And you don't even think you're black. And so you try to act black. Like, I'm going to be real. Have you ever heard somebody, let me get closer to the microphone because have you ever heard somebody that grew up around white people, didn't really grow up around black people, and they were black? Have you ever heard them try to say the N-word? Not the ER, but the one with the A. You hear how that sounds? Am I tripping? Have you ever heard somebody that's technically black, but you could tell they didn't grow up around any black people, and they try to say the N-word? It kind of, I don't know. It kind of sound wrong. It kind of like Drake. You know when Drake says it, like Kendrick said, we don't want to hear you. It's kind of like that. That's how I view black children who grew up privileged, who grew up around all white people, who grew up with white parents, or maybe they had one white parent and a black parent or whatever. And again, I want to be careful. Right? Because I'm not saying that people who have a white parent, black people who have a white parent, are not black. What I'm saying is that they believe they're not black, and then they try to act black, and when they try to act black, it's actually offensive. When they try to quote unquote act black, it's like that they're never acting up, right? They always try to lower what they're doing. Why do you think it is? Like when you see white people, think of this. When you see white people and they are acting stereotypically black, they're talking slang and stuff, what do people say? Oh, they're trying to act black. That's a white boy acting black. You see the black dude or the white dude with the braids, he's acting black. All right, we got some comments. Okay, you're bringing it home now. All right, I'm going to bring it home. All right. When I see white people that are acting black, quote unquote, and because I really don't like saying that, when I see white people that are doing stereotypical black people things, we call it out. We say, oh, they're trying to act black. If you see a white dude walking down the street sagging, you like, he didn't learn that in a white neighborhood. He didn't learn that. He either was growing up in a black neighborhood or he's trying to quote unquote act black. That is how I view black people who grow up with a white parent, and that's not them, but they discover their blackness, quote unquote, and then they try to act black. And when they act black, all they're doing is emulating stereotypical behaviors of black people. And then by doing that, it comes off as inauthentic. There's a difference when you actually grow up saying the N-word around people and it's just regular and it's a part of your vocabulary. That's just different. There's a difference when you grow up and you grow up listening to a certain type of music, or you grow up living a certain type of lifestyle, versus you 20 years old, you come across it in a book and now you trying to do it. And then on top of that, you start complaining and bitching because you didn't have this growing up. And my thing is this. I am very critical of modern black culture today, not because I hate black people, not because I don't think black people have nothing to offer, but because I'm solution based. We got some comments. They said, someone said it sounds wrong when anyone says the N word. I disagree. And when I say wrong, I'm not saying whether anyone should say it or not. I'm saying you can tell the people that regularly say something versus the people where it's like, is this your first time? Is this your first time, bruh? It's like watching somebody from, I don't know, like if you took somebody from 1950 and put them in modern Walmart and you were like, okay, go to self-checkout. They're going to stand there, what is that? Right? That's how I look at people that don't grow up in the culture and then they try to act like they're from the culture. They act like they're from the culture. They want to be from the culture. And honestly, this is another reason why we have to safeguard what is actually the positive parts of black culture, because it gets taken over so much by other people, and other people now include people that grew up that are technically black, but culturally white. They try to emulate that and they try to push that, and it comes off as very inauthentic. And then here's what I don't like. And make sure you hit the like button if you're in the stream right now. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, trying to hit that number. So let's help the channel grow. We got a comment. It says, we all do that in some areas. I speak very professionally when I'm doing business, so I don't sound like a sub-Saharan. And listen, I'm okay with code switching. I'm not one of those people that are not okay with code switching. I'm not one of those people that says you need to act exactly one way in all environments and stuff like that. Like, let's be real. Like, if you a dude and you trying to pick up a chick, you gonna act a different way on the first date versus the 10th date. Or you in class the first day, you may act a little different the first day versus, like, I get it. We all have different personalities and we all have different areas of ourselves that are being shown in different spaces. That's true. But that also becomes part of your personality. And if it's consistent and a pattern over time, then it makes more sense. What I'm talking about is someone that's trying too hard to be something they're not. Someone who's trying too hard to be something they not. Like me. I'm not the blackest black person, right? I talk very quote unquote proper. Even though I grew up around black people, even though, I grew up around slang, all that stuff, people will tell me, you talk very proper. And they think I'm doing it on purpose. That's the crazy part. People that don't know me, they think I'm putting on a show. No, I've always spoke like this. I've always been very articulate. I've always, been like this. Even though I grew up around black people and stuff like that. I remember reading books on the bus on the way to school. I remember reading books, and I remember the kids around me, the other black kids, making fun of me for reading books on the bus. Now, was I trying to act white? No, I just wanted to read books. And guess what happens when you read books? You develop a different type of vocabulary from people who aren't reading books. You develop a different type of critical thinking from people who aren't reading books and studying. So this goes to my point. You can be in a culture, but me right now, even though I grew up in black culture, I grew up around black people and they was talking a certain way, doing certain things, it would feel inauthentic to me if I just started walking around and trying to sound like the hoodest person. Hey, what up, fam? You feel me? Feel me, dog? Yeah, man. We out here, they tripping, bruh. Like, that's not me. But there are people that show up to work and talk like that. There are people that, and for them to show up and not talk like that, they would probably have to act a little fake. They would probably have to act a little different. They're not used to it. And so I I I don't want to say that black children that grow up with white parents are not black. I really want to emphasize that point. All I'm saying is, yeah, he said you mean most hood. See, I got a little in me. You know, the grammar not perfect, but what I want to emphasize is that we have to stop putting modern black culture on a pedestal, and we have to stop idolizing the parts of it that are not good. I'm a parent now. I'm a parent. I'm gonna be real. You know, it worries me to introduce my children to a lot of what is considered modern black culture. It worries me. It worries me. It worries me to move in predominantly black areas that are below a certain income. And it's not because I don't like black people, and it's not because, you know, I hate anyone or anything like that. It's just that you're taking a gamble. You're taking a gamble. You're taking a risk, because if you understand psychology and you understand how ideas are transferred to people, then you know you can do everything right in your household. But if you send your child in an environment that is not conducive to the values that you teach, you are rolling the dice and increasing the chances that they have more control over your child than you do. And that's what I don't want. So what I do is I say, what are the things that I value? Well, I value hard work in school. Well, shit, I remember when I was going to school in the areas I was going to, they didn't value that. They didn't. I had to literally go sit in the corner by myself to get my work done. Them classes was crazy. Them classes was crazy. Nobody cared about learning. I'm talking people doing homework 3 minutes before the class starts. People cheating. And I don't know if that happens in other schools where they take it more seriously. I just know they have better outcomes when it comes to getting in college and getting jobs later. So as a father, I'm going to look for the environments that share the same type of values that I have. And unfortunately, it sucks, because a lot of the black communities that I could go to and afford to live in and stuff like that and send my kids, there's not enough of the positive going on in the environment for me to feel safe just being like, here's my child. Here's my child. Because just with me as an adult, I get so much pushback from adult black people on the things that I believe and the things that I speak for. I'll give you an example. I was doing a live about a year ago, and I was having a discussion with other black people about the school system in Florida and around in certain areas trying to get rid of black history. Okay, I don't support that, but I don't care. Why? Because I believe that black parents should be teaching their children about black history and not the schools, right? That's what I believe. And so I'm the type of parent where, and just person in general, self-accountability no matter what. If you want your child to learn something, or you really want your child to do something, you have to teach them. Now, here's where it gets important, right? A lot of black people will say, well, you know, it's the school's responsibility to teach them that, and we need to go fight the schools and do this and do that so that the schools will change. My thing is this: while I'm fighting the schools trying to get the change that I want in this in this neighborhood that I want to be in, my kid is in those they're in those classrooms. They're going 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. They're still, all while we fighting, they going through the BS. So why would I go into an area and try to change all of this and fight all of this, and by the time if it gets done, my child not even in the school no more? I'm trying to make change for my children as well. And so what I'm saying to people is this. We said that's exactly how class was. Yep, agreed. History needs to be taken out. Focus on the math. and English. Yes, focus on the important things. And that's why I love Texas. I love Texas because Texas is very homeschool friendly. In Texas, really, if you're homeschooling your child, the only things they really require, I believe, are reading, writing, math. I believe those are the only things that they require, and everything else is customizable, right? They are very homeschool friendly in Texas, and that is one of the reasons why we love Texas so much, and why we are focused on homeschooling our children is because you can literally teach your children what you want to teach them. You don't have to have all the fluff. Now, I want to point out something that I saw on a video recently where there was and I just released the video today. Make sure you go to my page and check it out. There was a white grandmother who has who has a black daughter, right? This white grandmother went out and got monkey tattoos to represent her grandchildren, right? And in her mind, she wasn't connecting the dots between black people being called monkeys and stuff like that with her getting the tattoos of monkeys. Like she got I guess she has 3 grandchildren. She got 3 monkeys tattooed on her. Crazy. Go check it out on my page after this. But one of the things that I think is so difficult about raising black children if you're a white parent is that we live in a society now where even if you don't know or you didn't have a bad intention, your feet are held to the fire as if you were purposely trying to be racist or whatever. And I don't know if this woman was trying to be racist. In the video, I actually explained, I don't think she is because I don't know many racists that go and get tattoos of people. Like I don't know. It's just a weird story all around. But the point that I'm making is I actually believe that if you're a white parent raising a black child, you are in a very, I guess, I don't want to say dangerous, but you're in a very sensitive position. Why? Because we live in a world now where kids are recording their parents. We live in a world now where everything is considered racism. And as a white parent, you could just be trying to punish your kid or teach them right and you get labeled as racist. I've seen parents lose their job because their kid went online and was like, oh, my mom said this, my mom a Trump supporter, and they losing their jobs, right? So what I want to say about that is this. If you are a white parent raising a black child, understand they will never fully appreciate you because they will always look at you as an enemy on some level. I believe that. I believe not all, but most black children that grow up right now who have a white parent, at some point in time, they are going to be taught that white people are their problem. White people, we got a comment that said, BS, hear me out. Hear me out, because I'm reacting to a lot of these videos. I'm watching a lot of these videos and I'm seeing these black children get online and be so ungrateful to white parents. And their biggest gripe is that you didn't teach me enough about black culture. That's their biggest gripe. Imagine that. Imagine you raising a child and they are online. One woman said, I never consented to having a white mom. I never consented to having a white mom. And now, here's another thing that you have to look at as well, right? White people, they vote very differently than black people. Black people vote 90% Democrat. Black people vote 90% Democrat, okay? White people, I think they're about 50-50. It's definitely not 90-10. They are more even when it comes to who they vote for. So there's a very good chance you could have a Democrat or a Republican mother or father. It's like they're not as one-sided. The reason that's important is because black people have been taught that Republicans and people who are not Democrats are automatically racist, right? They've been taught that. And if you're a black child, at some point, you're going to be put in the school system most likely. And when you get put in the school system, you are going to be taught that your Republican parents are racist, that they don't like you. And that's going to cause a conflict. Why? Because you may not see them as racist, but you're being taught that they're racist. You're being taught that they don't like black people. You're being taught that they want you as a slave. You're being taught all these negative things about your conservative Republican parents. And there's a good chance that you probably might have a Republican mother or father if you're a black child being raised by a white person, right? That's important because a lot of these kids, they go through school being taught that, and then they go off to college on their white parents' dime. And then they get super indoctrinated by these liberal colleges. And then those kids come back talking about, oh, you're racist. You don't like black people. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Let me read his comments. His gaze said, I'm multicultural and my father just married a white woman who has mixed kids. In most cases, if there is love in the home, then you good. But true, they are teaching that in school and college. Yeah, because here's the thing. I swear to God, this is on everything I love. I didn't know what a Democrat or a Republican was until I got to college. I didn't know what a Democrat or Republican was until I got to college. Now, I knew that Democrats wore blue and Republicans wore red. And I only made that connection because I saw like a documentary where they're talking about gangs and they like, Democrats are a gang, Republicans are a gang. Look, blue and red. I didn't know what they stood for. I didn't know the ideology. I didn't know what they were until I got to college. I say that because many of these ideas are pushed onto children after they become adults. And then when you become an adult, you start reflecting on your life and you start holding your parents to the fire a little more. This is when you start having conversations like, hey, you did this to me as a kid, you did that. I think you could have did, like you really start to challenge your parents in those areas. And a lot of black kids, I think they go through this phase where they're exposed to certain ideologies that make them question their parents' love for them, their white parents' love for them. And so that's what I'm saying. As a white parent, you have to understand that at some point, that black child will probably think that on some level. And I just thought of something. I honestly just thought of this. So I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? My white grandma that I was talking about earlier, they lived in Colorado. I barely seen her. I maybe seen her once or twice in my life up to that point that I could remember, right? All I knew was that she was white, essentially, because I had some other brothers and sisters that lived with her. I knew she was white. My ignorance, I knew about slavery. I didn't know timelines or anything. I honestly believed, and this is no cap, I honestly believed for a good portion of my childhood that my grandmother owned slaves. I honestly believed that. That was how infantile my understanding of racism and slavery was. I believed because my siblings that lived with her, they're black. I believed at a certain point that they were her slaves. I truly believed that. Like if you walked up to at 7 years old and it was like, they're her slave, like she owned slaves. Because all I knew is that white people used to own slaves. That was my understanding of white people and racism. I didn't know that it ended in in 1860, whatever. I didn't know all that. I just knew white people owned slaves. And my grandma, I'm like, oh, she old enough to have owned slaves. She wasn't. She wasn't. But that's the story I came up with in my mind because of what I had been taught about white people. The only thing I had really been taught about white people is that they owned slaves. I'm not talking to white people to get the truth. I'm not talking to white people to understand anything. Yes, there are probably timelines and stuff, but it's like, okay, 18, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just saying, depending on what's being put in your child's mind, at a certain point, they may come and question you about things and you may have to do some explaining, and you may have to fight against it. This is what's happening in the LGBTQ community as well, right? This is what's happening because you have a lot of those kids where they're growing up, right? And maybe they have some issues, but then they get around the LGBTQ community, and then that community starts telling them, your parents don't really love you. They don't understand you. Oh, they don't accept you for who you really are. They don't think that you're a boy even though you're a girl, and they start putting that in their mind. And now when they go to their parents and their parents say, "Hey, no, you're a boy. You were born a boy." Oh, you hate me now. Because that's what's been put in their mind. See, parents are not appreciated enough because we have to sit back and literally watch and just hope that we don't get the short end of the stick. Like my dad always used to say. We used to say to my dad, "Well, you have to raise us." Little did we know, right? That's your job as a parent. You have to. And he would always say things like, "I didn't have to do shit. I could have thrown you in a dumpster can when you was born." There's some parents that do that, and we would just laugh. "Oh, that's crazy. I didn't have to raise you. I could have just left and never came back." Oh, why would a parent? Well, that's crazy because he was in our lives. We're not even thinking like that. But he understands as a parent that him being there, this isn't normal in the black community. But we're so ungrateful because we got to come in at 7 because it's getting dark. We can't keep hooping. We got a curfew, right? We're so ungrateful, we don't even know the blessings that we have. And this is what I'm saying when it comes to black children being raised by white parents. Sometimes you don't even know the blessings that you have because you're missing out on things that really wouldn't benefit you anyways. I'm serious. I cannot think of one thing from black culture, modern black culture, that I was instilled with that made me a better person, that taught me anything, that made me more competitive. I don't know. We got a comment. "I've been subscribed for years. Good channel, Doc. Keep it going. I like your satirical political vids too. I agree with your points here today too. Your live is draining this battery." Keep up the great work. Yeah, I'm about to hop off. I gotta go eat some lunch. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We're almost at 2,000 subs. Appreciate the support, and let me know what y'all think in the comment section. And if there's anything that you want me to cover, let me know in the comment section. I do it all. I can cover anything. I'm comfortable talking about anything. I'm an open book. Let me know. Appreciate y'all. My name is Fitz, and I'll see y'all in the next video.